to do a quick little wet fly today for you. This is called the Katydid. Like the yellow Sally, it's just all one color. I'm doing all of this in a chartreuse or even a fluorescent chartreuse for the body. The original recipe just calls for bright green. It's a great fly for the Midwest around here. Chartreuse is a wonderful warm water color. That's the Katydid. Like I said, this is going to be a quick little wet fly, and I'll go ahead and get started. I'll place my hook on the vise. For the Katydid, I'm using a Mustad 3399. This is in a size 8. Go ahead and debarb the hook. Now I'll attach my thread. The body on this is going to be a fluorescent chartreuse, so I'm going to start with a Danville 6/0 in white so that it doesn't darken up the chartreuse. I'm going to attach my thread about an eye length behind the eye of the hook and advance my thread down the shank of the hook until I get to just the very end, almost to the barb. The Katydid does have a tip on it, and this I'm going to use a Danville silver and gold Mylar tinsel in a size 14, and it is a gold tip, so I'm going to attach this with the silver side up, and I'll pull that to my left to where the tip is just a little bit inside the thread there and secure, and I'll wrap about another 4 wraps down the hook shank. I should be hanging right at the barb. Flipping the hook over, I can then put in 4 turns down the bend of the hook, just in touching turns or even overlapping just a little bit. Just want to go down the bend a little bit and then come on back up. So 4 turns down, 4 turns up, and I'll secure that, and I should still be right at the barb of the hook. There is a tail on the Katydid, and it is, I'm going to make it out of duck quill. So this is just a dyed chartreuse duck quill. I'm going to reach in and clip about 4 to 5 barbs off each side to make the tail. Taking the one side off, I'll then flip this feather over, matching up the tips, and then pull the other one off. If one is too wide here, you can use your bodkin to get in and cull one of those out. Getting those tips nice and even. I'm going to tie this in so that the tail is about a shank length long. Make certain that I secure those right down on top of the hook shank, and I should still be right at the barb. I'll trim away the excess so that this is the length of the body. Now I can tie in my rib. The rib is the same Mylar tinsel in a size 14. I'll tie that with the silver side up. I like to secure that on the bottom of the hook shank, just 1 or 2 wraps in there to get that nice and secured, and we're ready for the body. Again, I'm using a fluorescent Chartreuse. This is a Danville 4-strand nylon. The 4-strand nylon, as compared to the rayon, is a little bit thinner. So I find on this size hook, normally if it was a rayon floss, I would only use 2 strands of the floss. But like I said, I find this to be a little bit thinner than nylon, so I'm going to go ahead and use all 4 strands. Now the original recipe for this just called for a bright green, so if you've got something that's just a non-fluorescent or a chartreuse, something like that, that would work also. Securing that in, I'll advance my thread forward, touching turns so that I keep a nice smooth underbody. Thread hanging about an eye length behind the eye of the hook, just inside the head space, and then I can advance my floss to make the body, and then I'll rib the fly. After getting 5 nice evenly spaced wraps, I'll bind that in and trim away the excess. I'll change over to my black thread. I'm using a Danville 6/0 in black. Throat on this, or hackle, I'm going to go ahead and use some just some Chartreuse Schlappen. I will peel away the fluff off the bottom side of that, and then get 2 sides of this feather to make the hackles for the throat. Placing those right up underneath the hook. I like to have them about the length into the gap of the hook. Secure those, and with a loop underneath, pull up and secure those in. Secure those butt ends down and clean up the head space here so I have a nice even level platform for the wing. Katydid is also going to use some chartreuse duck for the wing. It's pretty much just a bright chartreuse fly. I've already got a couple of slips cut here. The thing is that one of them is a little bit wider than the other. I've got on the one side here, I have just one barb a little bit longer. I should say wider than the other side. So I'm just going to take that out. Measure those. I want the tip to go about halfway down the tail. A little pinch and a loop here. Tighten that down. 3 or 4 more turns to secure it, and we'll take a look at our wing, how it's setting. Trim away the excess. And now we can finish up the head of the fly, cleaning that space up. I'm going to spin my bobbin counterclockwise, flatten out my thread. This just helps when I go to make the head of the fly. It kind of smooths in all these little ridges, which will get smoothed over anyway when I put the lacquer on, but this just gives it a nice base. Get my whip finish in, trim away my thread, and our Katydid is almost done. Put a little bit of head cement on each side of the head. And I will come back in a minute, put 2 coats of black lacquer on that, and our fly is done. So that's the Katydid. Like I said, it's just a nice fly. It works well for the panfish and bass in the Midwest here. Like the yellow Sally, it's a nice little fly that it's all one single color, and so it's pretty easy to get the materials to tie this fly, and it's a great little starter fly for doing wet flies. Just a lot of fun to tie. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for joining me at the Vise today. I hope you learned at least a new pattern, if not a new technique, maybe a tip or trick here and there. If you have any questions about this fly or any of the techniques used in constructing this pattern, please leave them in the comments section down below. If you go to the trouble to ask a question, I'll go to the trouble to answer it. If you'd like to help dressed irons, please share this video with your friends and anybody you think that might enjoy this pattern. Until next time, remember, it's fly tying. If you're not having fun, then you're doing it wrong.